The Shine on CX Show with Claire Bosk, illuminating the path to exceptional customer service.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Shine on CX Show. And today I have the absolute pleasure, and you can't see it over the radio, but you're going to feel it, that beautiful, beautiful smile. Estelle Martinson is here with me in the studio today. Hello Estelle, how are you?
Hello Claire, thank you for having me, and it's lovely to be here with you.
Thank you. And you are passionate person about customer experience, aren't you? I mean, we got introduced and then the next minute it was like we couldn't stop talking to each other. So you're head of client experience for Standard Bank Offshore.
Yes, I'm based here in Jersey. So Standard Bank Jersey is one of our jurisdictions. There's also Standard Bank Isle of Man, and then there's Jersey Trust and Mauritius Trust. So we are part of the Standard Bank Group, which has their head office in South Africa, and we focus on Africa. So our vision is really as a bank that Africa is our home and we drive her growth. Far away from home, but we really want to connect Africa and the rest of the world. And the offshore business focuses on high net worth clients, businesses and corporates, and also mass affluent. So it's a lovely variety of clients that we serve. Yes, I love my job. You're quite right.
Yeah, you could see by just looking at your face and your smile. And so, what has inspired you to be in that role? Have you always been in CX? Have you always been client experience?
I actually started in computer science as a programmer, but I very quickly gravitated to business analyst because I wanted to create that translation between the business needs and what, the developers were doing, because I could see the disconnect. And from there, I went into process automation, digital transformation. And I was very lucky to have a manager who really believed that everybody in the team should play to their strengths. And he said to me, Estelle, you are so good with clients. You're so good at understanding what they want. That's what you need to focus on. And that kind of led me. I did a lot of very nice, interesting things, on the ground research in different African countries. I worked with such interesting people from India, designers, etc. That taught me so much. And I started with usability. What drives digital adoption? And then really understanding and experiencing firsthand that if something works, people don't need training. If it's easy, they will just do it. If it betters their lives, they will do it. And so often when you think, we're struggling with adoption for a system, the problem is really that it's not the right solution. Because if it is, people will naturally embrace it. And from there, I worked in more of a defined CX role. And then I saw this job was internally advertised. And I didn't know anything about Jersey. But I was just, this is my dream job. This is my next. And I can't say I'm sorry to have ended up in Jersey, Brilliant. That was a great bonus for me personally.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very lucky on this little island, aren't we? The financial industry is, the reputation of it, it's very, very complex and highly regulated, which more often than not, there's a perception that, that impacts the actual client experience. How do you see that in your current role?
I think it's true. I think generally as part of a very large organization, you do understand that decision-making is slower than it would be in a smaller organization. And sometimes you can get frustrated, But I think it's got a positive side to it as well for me, in the sense that always reminded when I look at our clients' feedback how important trust is. So as much as you can feel, it's all about risk and it's all about compliance, the flip side of that, the positive human face of it, is that people trust your organization and they can trust it. And when you get down to that, there's actually not a conflict between great client experience and being highly regulated, because it's got the same purpose at the end. It's just coming from the rules-based side versus the heart-based side, but it meets in that building that relationship of trust. And that is critical in financial services. So I always embrace these regulatory requirements from the sense of this is how you can make it easy, how you can explain it. And I've often seen, as long as you are able to justify and really believe in it, people also don't mind it because they say, I experience it as a positive. And then on the other hand, there is the fintechs, which are the challenger banks that really lead in terms of the digital way of making things easy and simple. And I think if you don't focus just inwardly and you actually look at what is happening in the world, it's such an exciting world. I know people say that banks are, not really necessary, but money is something that we all love.
Right.
We all know is
We all
important.
need.
And therefore for me there's a lot of purpose
Yeah.
in being an organization that is responsive and people trust and that works for them.
I just want to go back to actually, because not every organization have a head of customer experience or client experience, because we have possibly in Jersey smaller to medium-sized businesses. Can you just tell us a little bit of what is it? What does your role bring together? How does it encompass everything together? What are the things that you're responsible for?
So first of all, measuring client experience.
Okay.
Because this time of the year, we do our surveys, our main surveys, we do our end of year results. So it's a very exciting time for me because I think our customers are so generous in just really and listening to what they say in their own words. To me, it's just so precious and so insightful. So it's measuring. And for me, it's always been about having multiple listening posts, not just listening on one channel and in one way. So having focus groups, having events where you meet with clients directly, having surveys, having, many different ways.
Mystery shopping, should I just add to mystery
absolutely.
shopping?
That is...
a bit biased with that one.
Well, you know what? When you think about what people say versus what actually happens,
Right.
It's such an important principle to walk the shoes and experience what a customer would experience. That opens a lot of executives' eyes, and it's a very good principle if you want them to really understand where the pain points are. And funnily enough, if I might just add before I go on back to the role, is how easily we often shield ourselves from that real experience. That's why I think it's so important, because very often we have a process for clients, but then we have another process for our internal executives because they can go through all of that pain. But we'll put our clients through it. And therefore, for me, it's really, really good, that everybody experiences what a client would experience. But apart from measuring, I'm also responsible for client-focused research. So if we want to design a new product or bring a new product to market, to bring that voice of client to the whole design aspect. And then dissatisfaction and complaints, which has got a regulatory angle, but also a very human angle. If you think somebody's feeling aggrieved, somebody feels they weren't treated fairly, to really be able to balance the organization's point of view, if we think we shouldn't be responsible for fraud on an account because the client gave away all his information, but understanding what they're going through. It could be their life savings that's on the line, So it's compliance, and then it is very excitingly for me is making sure that our strategy is reflective of our clients' priorities. So it's always being that voice that speaks up and says, yes, we have pressures around costs and we want to digitize and we want clients to help themselves and self-serve because it's cheaper. But our clients do not want to speak to a robot. They want to speak to a human. And we can't forget that. So it's, it's quite varied. And then it touches on every single area in every single department. Because to me, one of the biggest things is that it's not IT is customer facing, because they are developing the front end of what people will interact with. And everybody who thinks they back office, whether it's compliance or risk or legal, has got an impact on that end-to-end journey that the customer is going to experience. And the more we work together, break down the silos, put the customer in the center. I know it's a lot of cliches, but Claire, it's always back to basics, just bringing that, what is that customer going to need to do to get something done? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be efficient? Is it going to make them feel good?
And it's so simple, right? Put the
It
customers in the
is.
middle of every decision
Yes.
that you do. It just seems so simple to me, but I,
It's
I
easy
think
to forget, and I like to be that reminder.
yeah,
You know?
so you're the reminder of that.
Yes.
And you said something really important earlier is putting yourself in your customer's shoes. So that empathy plays a big, big role in CX, isn't it?
It's massive.
Right.
And I think I have to look back at my roots coming from Africa, because Africa is so creative and vibrant. And it's got such a human face. You know, it's literally, for me, in this large organization, I have every 2 weeks, I've got 4 hours that I spend with all the heads of client experience in all the different countries. And it's so lovely to hear what they do, you know, how they talk about we must show love to our clients, and we have to, you know, in customer service month, how they go out of their way. But there's this dancing in the branches and, you know, just a wonderful warmth that comes through. And of course, it's different in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it manifests in different ways. But going back to those roots, I'm always touched by people who have got the ability to say, I'm treating someone like I want my mother to be treated, like I want my sister and my brother to be treated. Just understanding that at the end, we're all human. It doesn't matter if you're a high net worth client or whether you an entry-level student who's just opening your first bank account. And it doesn't matter, you know, what the environment, whether it's banking or any other service industry. It costs nothing to be friendly and to really make that person feel that they are important in a very real, you know, tangible way.
So how does a large organization like yours actually is able, in all the different countries that you're in, all the different branches that you have, to have consistency in that service delivery?
I think it's getting a balance between what is done centrally, what is defined as a framework. So for Standard Bank, it's very much about vision and values. So it is, and strategy. So everybody knows that client centricity is one of the pillars. So that's the same. You have to somehow explain how your strategy is client-centric, but then also giving space for people to bring creativity and to bring some of their personal energy and their interpretation to those values. And then I think the other way, in a very practical way, is focusing on what we call daily disciplines and service excellence principles. So again, principles and values to say, for example, we have a sunset principle to say, if somebody raises anything, even if you don't have a resolution at the end of the day, on the same day, they will get a response. They will know that somebody's, and then you've got owning it as another principle, which is, I'm not passing someone along to someone else to deal with as though I'm passing the responsibility it's literally saying, you know, if this query came to me, even if I need someone else to help resolve it, I will own it and I will make sure that it gets resolved. And the person on the other end, it's not an email, it's a human being. And I'm very often, especially in payments, I'm so often reminded when things go wrong, you realize how important the very basic things is, because it's my child who is stuck in another country that needs a ticket, or I need to pay this. I've got a once-off opportunity while I'm traveling to actually buy something. It's not just a payment that's not gone through. It's affecting that person's life, and it could, you know, be really important to them. So I think we tend to understand that. Everybody, if you're working in the card department, you know that it's not just a postage item. It's actually someone who's waiting to swipe their card and use their money. So there is impact, real impact, in terms of either doing it well, and it's, you know, whether someone sees it or not. So it goes back to what I started with, the vision. If that vision is translated down into every level, into every person's job, to understand what I'm doing is contributing in this way, and it's got this impact, that inspires people to know that, you know what, I need to do my job well because it's part of this whole chain that's got that impact.
Yeah, that responsibility word that you talked about is crucial, isn't it? You know, I am responsible for, you know, myself, but then everybody around me as well. So if I do something or walk the walk and talk the talk, isn't it? It's that kind of thing. So being empowered to do it is an important part as an organization, giving the employees the empowerment to take decisions and to do that.
And speak up, if you think, well, and also use your own products. Because if you're going to get the email that says, this is not up to date, you need to get in touch with us. If that wording doesn't sound good to you when you receive it, you're going to speak up and say, oh, there's something wrong. So it's holding each other to account. But I think the other thing, I want to go back to empathy because it's so foundational. And I think looking after your staff and making sure that you really show them that you care. There's one thing to say, you need work-life balance, but we've got this deadline. You have to get...
You've got to stay an extra 2 hours.
Exactly. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
So you have to be consistent in terms of their message and really, as you say, walk the talk. But it's when you do that people actually can feel that love for others. Because if they are stressed and strained and unhappy and they feel nobody notices them and nobody acknowledges them or give them any love, very often, it's difficult for them to do that. But when there's really people in the world of client experience that says you don't even have to worry about the client as long as you focus on
the employees.
Yeah. And I'm a great believer of that as well.
So the in the middle of it, you've got your employees and your customers in the middle of everything that you do, really.
I think, and your partners.
Yeah.
For me, I have your vendors, everybody who contributes to your distribution channel, it's all people. It's always the same principle. Build trust, build that relationship, do as you would want to be done unto you. And that creates, I think, a lot of happiness.
Yeah, it does create a lot of happiness, definitely. And I think a lot of organization, the pandemic or after the pandemic, during the pandemic, have really stepped up in terms of well-being and in terms of actually realizing that they need to look after their people, right?
Yes.
I think if I put my feng shui hat on and start, talking about, the environment and how all this affects us as a person, the well-being of our people is crucial to, the happiness of our customers.
Yes.
That's
the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. And that, to me, is my biggest advice to anybody who wants to be in the field of a client experience is that you have to think about return on investment. Because in the financial services world, you're not going to convince the CE to invest in your program for CX if you can't speak his language, which is about profits, which is about, profit and loss. So essentially, it's actually not that difficult to do. To say, if you save time here, you can focus, if you can build capacity, then, and if you invest in this way, and if you bring in design and you test before you just launch it to market, all of those things are proven ways to really actually have a better product, a better experience. And you can measure that. And the more you do that, the more people give you airtime to say it makes sense. It makes business sense as well.
You come from a technology background.
Yes.
So how do you see technology really improving or enhancing, I shouldn't say improving, but enhancing the customer experience?
I think it's critical, Claire.
Right.
I think, for me, one of the trends that I'm really, really excited about is generative AI. And I know I'm so happy, looking at some research reports to have seen that everybody's curious about it.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it took 16 years for cell phones to reach 100 million users. It took 2 months for ChatGPT to reach 100 million.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm excited about it, and that is the same for all technology, but this is a technology that I think has got really going to shape some of our future. The first thing is that it creates capacity for people to do what people do, which is be creative, build relationships, have conversation. Not do the slogging work, the summary of a meeting, the case, etc., the research, looking for documentation, that you can get a machine to do.
Yeah.
But secondly, as I said, our clients tell us very clearly, I don't want to speak to a robot because it's frustrating. Because you have to tell it the whole story and then you keep on having to say, no, I need something else. Please put me through to... Whereas a conversational agent in generative AI is so intelligent. It really is like having a conversation with a person. So it's much more satisfying because you get the help you need. And it's interesting to see some of the big organizations like in Heathrow and so on, how they've benefited from using generative AI. And I think the third thing for me that excites me is that with generative AI today, you can get a very good indication of someone's feeling and sentiment from a conversation or from an email.
Yeah.
And you and I know that emotion, 95% of people base their decisions on how they feel, although they were always justified with some rational argument. It's actually emotion. And client experience is about how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
So if we can use technology to almost have that listening post, which is no effort to the client, it's in the background, but it clearly highlights to us, this customer's happy, this one's not happy, needs some attention, or this process is causing some friction, we need to look at that. So to me, it's always a help, and I think we miss a trick when we say we want to digitize, and we forget that we still need to create a great experience in the digital world. So just to give you an example, so the organizations that I really enjoy interacting with in a digital world, sometimes I bring in humor in their error messages. So let's say you make a mistake and it's not a valid, that anybody would say to you, the password or the username you're using is wrong. The ones I enjoy would say, only perfect spellers are allowed on our site to try again. Do you know what I mean? Because you have a frustrating moment, you're kind of blocked from what you want to do, but someone puts a smile on your face and you realize that someone thought through this experience. They actually thought
that there
it's
could be a moment.
Yes, as opposed to error 101. What does that mean? Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a massive opportunity to bring some humanness into the digital experience and distinguish yourself from everybody who's trying to make it easy. But you can make it easy and enjoyable. And I think that's a great challenge to engage in. And then I think finally technology, as I say, it helps you. Just from if you think about a customer relationship or customer management system, bringing all that information together for you so that the person who needs to speak to the client knows what happened before. There's some history.
Personalisation, isn't it?
How you can personalise it,
It makes it just so fabulous.
Exactly.
But it makes a person feel valued, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's technology in service of.
Yeah.
You've got to first have that vision. You've got to have people who drive it. Whether the system is good or bad, there's always people behind it, So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So how do you see, if anybody is kind of aspiring to, to look for a role like yours, what kind of things that you think they should look for in terms of maybe skills or development? Where would you say is a good foundation? Where should they start?
I think working directly with customers is a fantastic place. So many of our heads of client experience started in a contact center. Because at the end of the day, it is about how do you interact with people, understanding people. So that's a great place. But then if you want to learn, it doesn't matter where you come from because it's such a varied field and it's so always evolving that I think that building a professional, so you've got the different organizations like the customer experience, different institutes and so on. I think obtaining something, whether your interest is in usability, whether it is in journey mapping, whether it is in any kind of activities that you would typically associate in measurement.
Market research.
Exactly, market, competitor research. All of those things at the end of the day is going to bring you some skill set and some experience that adds to how you're going to be approaching client experience. But it's interesting to see the different pathways that leads to that. I think at the end of the day, it comes back to what your passion is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you feel that calling, you will get that opportunity. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
Because people are going to notice that there's just like a lovely vibe and things work and clients ask for you and others kind of, how did you manage to calm that person down and what was your trick? And so you can then complement that natural passion that you have with some learning to say,
Bring them together.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
fabulous. That's fabulous. So there's if anybody wants to reach out to you, where would it be the best place? You're on LinkedIn?
I'm not very active on LinkedIn, I must confess. So, I work for Standard Bank Jersey, and so they can email me. I'm obviously one of your ambassadors.
Yes.
I'm absolutely passionate about, client experience in Jersey. We've got such a beautiful island.
We have, haven't we?
We've got so much to be grateful for, and why not have everybody who come here, and everybody who lives here, just being reminded of our humanity. I mean, when I got here in 2019, I was all alone. My husband was stuck because of COVID, because it was just like the start of COVID. And to me, it was just like the cider festival. It was just like so wonderful, that spirit of community, old and young, families, etc. And I think so. Yes, I mean, even if you, as Claire, if people know where to contact you, you can put them in touch with me. If someone's interested in specifically, generative AI or anything that I've said that really resonates. I always love to mentor and support people on their learning journey, because I'm a passionate, student for life. So yeah, I'm very happy to hear from anybody who wants to get in touch.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for showing how much you care, and for your beautiful smile with us today. And we look forward to being, one of our ambassadors, continuing sharing some love in CX on the island. Thanks very much, Estelle.
Thanks for what you do, Claire.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
For more on creating exceptional customer service for your business, head to clairebosk.com. Listen to more episodes of the Shine on CX show, wherever you get your podcasts. The Shine on CX show.